Peace, peace. What's going on, family? Happy Friday. Today is Friday, November. Man, this month is flying by.
This one's not connecting.
What is it saying?
It's saying it's having trouble connecting right now.
Alright.
So
We're good?
Yeah.
Happy Friday, family. Got Mr. Roundtree. We got Use Easy Funding. Hopefully you've had a productive day, a productive week. I know I have. Man, it's almost the end of it is the end of the year. Today is November 16th. We're going into, getting to spend time with the families, all of the fun festivities. The kids are about to be out of school for a week, so gotta find something to keep them occupied. But welcome to today's Fico Friday. For those who do not know me, my name is Will Roundtree, president and owner of We Management Services, president and co-founder of Easy Funding. I am also the author of the book, Credit is King. Hopefully you guys have picked up your copy. And this is actually a good time of the year to pick up several copies. As I call them, really good stocking stuffers, easy read, and is jam-packed with lots of information. I am also the credit master instructor at the J. Morrison Academy. I am a founding partner with the Tulsa Real Estate Group. And so just really excited, had some really good positive energy that took place this week, speaking with, my multiple coaching clients across the country. And, we're definitely going to dive into a little bit more about that, because for those who may not know, I am an actual real estate investor coach. So everything that I talk is not theory. Everything that I talk, I've not only done for myself, but I've helped many people across the country be able to accomplish, and not even mentorship just from a real estate standpoint. We also offer mentorship for credit. If you are looking to do one-on-one credit coaching, even just like business credit, because there's the surface level business credit stuff. And then, we keep the high level stuff in terms when it comes to business credit for our one-on-one coaching clients. But then more importantly, what I'm starting to find out is that sometimes people just need overall coaching, whether it's life coaching, mentorship, because there's a lot of different things from an entrepreneur in a business level, entrepreneurship and business level, that, growing up, we didn't have access to this type of information. I can remember going to one of my very first business presentations or business meetings, and I had on some Timberlands, some super baggy pants. So this was like 1999. Had on a big t-shirt or whatever I was wearing at the time, and I can remember sitting in the front of the room, legs crossed, arm crossed, body language super negative, and the speaker at the front of the room was saying, excuse me, you may want to get something to write with. And I was like, no, I'm good, I'm straight. And he was like, you know what, being cool gonna keep you broke. And that just stung and stuck with me. And so ever since that point, I always said, you know what, I do need to take myself a little bit more serious. If I'm trying to get to places where those who are already there, I need to start doing the things that they have done to get to that point. And so for all my kings, one of the very first things that I had to do was I had to level up my appearance. I had to put away the baggy jeans. Now, not saying that I still didn't like to, have my more, relaxed, wear or whatnot. Like today is a Friday, so I'm dressed down. Got on a sweater from Black Money Matters, my real estate sweater. Got the, leverage everything hat. But I also knew that it was a time when I had to put on a suit, and I didn't own a suit at the time. I didn't even have a pair of slacks, didn't have a pair of hard bottoms or none of that. And so I didn't know how to go and shop for a suit. My first suit had like 13 buttons in the front, so back in 1999 and 2000. And so just understanding like people's perception of you is how they're going to treat you. Unfortunately, it's not fair, but when I speak, sitting down and speaking with a lot of my coaching clients, we talk about that type of stuff. If you're saying you want people to see you in the light of an entrepreneur, you want people to see you in the light of a real estate investor or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, what perception are you putting out there for them to take you serious? Because remember, and for my Mr. Will Roundtree page, I'm looking into the camera. This will be up on YouTube, so I'll be looking, at both cameras. But what perception are you putting out there? I always have this exercise with my coaching clients, and I say, why would I want to do business with you? Pretend you don't know me. Why would I want to do business with you? And I want them to answer me. And a lot of times they because they're not confident at that time, they can't answer that question, in an articulate manner. But more importantly, they just can't, because again, it's all about perception. If you telling me you're going to help me become financially free, but nothing about your imagery that you're portraying out there, whether it's on social media or in person, says financially freedom, why would I follow you? If you're telling me you're going to help me, do XYZ, but I go to your social media page and nothing screams business, it's interesting. I get people that reach out to me and say, hey, Will, I want to join your team and I'm trying to do this and do that and the third. And, I'm a serious businessman or I'm a serious businesswoman. And then I go to their Instagram and nothing on their page says business. I see, pictures of their sneakers and their, and the cars and the loud and, and all this other stuff, but nothing screams business. So perception is extremely important. Understand that we want to be in a position to where we're not being judged. But again, unfortunately, that's the way life has been structured for us, especially within our community. Our perception is extremely important. Even within our own community, it's important with each other. And so just, I'm always conscious in wanting to give people as much game as possible to put them in the most, well-balanced scenario for them to win. Because as my partner always says, King J, we down 0 to 450 right now. And so not only is that one facet of what we have to do to position ourselves, but then we got to get the information and we got to come together, with those two components, along with all of the technical stuff. And that's where the coaching comes into play. I tell all of my clients, coaching is really just accountability. My job is to hold you accountable for the things you say you want to do. My job is to hold you accountable to be able to get to where you say you want to go. If you say, my goal is to make, $2 million, we need to figure out what activities you plan on doing to get to that $1 million goal. Just to say I want to make $1 million, that's just an ideal. It's really not a goal because we haven't set any foundational things in place for us to even hit that goal. And so we're going to reconstruct that goal, work backwards and figure out what is it going to take for us to get to that. And it's extremely doable. Making over $1 million is very doable. I remember one of my first goals over 15 years ago was just to be able to make 100,000. And it seemed so lofty, but that's because I didn't have any processes in place to help me hit that goal. And once I actually hit it, it was so simple. It was just about the simple disciplines that I do every day to help me to get there. But that's because I had planned out my steps. I planned out my journey. I knew exactly what I had to do. I knew the exact dollar amount I needed to make every single month to get to that. And so those are the things you learn within our one-on-one coaching, and why, I've always invested in mentorships, or in mentorship, excuse me. So, I invest in things that I want to become more proficient at. I want to be more proficient in learning how to trade stocks and crypto mining and different things like that. So I went out there and I invested in one of the best coaches in the United States. And the king looks like me. My brother Chris Cole, King Chris. So I don't mind investing in myself to become better and to sharpen my skills. I will never, ever try to take, someone's intellectual property for free, I'm always going to invest in them as well as in myself, because when you have skin in the game, you now will take what you've invested that much more serious. I tell a lot of people, as much information as we give away to people, a lot of times people take it for granted. But when you've invested your hard-earned money, you're going to want to ensure and hold me accountable to make sure I help you hit those goals. And that's the beautiful part I love about mentorship. That's the beautiful part I love about being a coach. And, and that actually is going to segue us into our special and featured guest today. And so the thing about, FICO Fridays is, we talk about everything from easy funding to business credit to real estate to entrepreneurship. We talk about life things, goal setting, all that, all those different topics. And so we get a wide range of individuals, various backgrounds. A lot of our clients come from different economical backgrounds. We have clients with a lot of money, clients with some money, clients with $0 that gotten started and had success with us. But the king that we're bringing on today, is someone who, from the exterior, and for those who may have met him or crossed paths, very sharp king, by the way. It would be someone that people probably would prejudge and be like, oh, he doesn't need to go through that. And the thing I always tell people is that I have celebrity clients that go through easy funding because they understand the importance of leverage. And that's the thing about King Antonio. By most people's standards, he probably didn't even have to go through easy funding. And I'll let him share his story. I definitely don't want to steal any of his thunder, but he understood the importance of leverage. Wealth was built based upon people leveraging. Maybe not even just all credit. You may have leveraged your relationships. You may have leveraged someone else's contact. You may have leveraged someone else's resources, the bank's resources, all those different things. And so not only did he decide to go through easy funding, he became a real estate investor coach of ours. And we helped this king get up to about $250,000 in funding. And he's built an extremely successful real estate portfolio in 6 short months with us. Actually on his way to acquiring a 12-unit building. Now, he already had real estate before he came over to us. But the thing he invested in is he said, King Will, I want the strategies. Yeah, I can do that. I can invest in real estate on my own, but I want the high-level strategies to see what can I do to scale quicker. And that's the thing about coaching. It was things that I was very proficient in. I traded in stocks in the past. But if I wanted to become an expert, I had to hire an expert. So I'm willing to invest in things where I want to become an expert in. And so that's what this king did, King Antonio from Capstone Investment Group. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. We'll definitely get to some Q&A a little bit later on in this live. Again, I want to appreciate everybody hopping in. Use easy funding, Mr. Will Roundtree. And, again, we will, definitely get these lives up on YouTube. If you have not done so, make sure you go and follow my YouTube page, Mr. Will Roundtree on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. We're constantly curating new content. And I'm telling you, family, we got some heat coming. So everything from talking about the new Ultra FICO score and even just looking at, some of the new things that we're going to be teaching on and talking about starting at the top of the year is in my brother and partner King Jay, we talked about this wealth triangle and understanding that the most foundational component of building wealth really does start with credit. And I understand that a lot of people continue to hear that message, but that's a narrative we're going to continue to share, because I think the more often you hear that, the more you will become a true believer about that. It's like going to church. You hear the same message for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, however long you attend, if you attend a more structured, church setting or whatever. But it's not that you hear the same message, it's because the message applies no matter where you are in your life. And the same thing with building wealth. you'll continue to hear the same message, but that's because we really want to drill it into where it becomes now indoctrinated in your DNA to where you can pass this to your children's children. Because the dopest part about what I've learned over my 15-year journey about this is that, you know, when you learn something, it's impossible to unlearn it. And the reason that's so powerful is because no matter what your circumstances are, you can always get back up. Think about it. You know, most successful people who studied their craft could lose it all and become extremely successful again in their next venture, because information is parallel. When it comes to entrepreneurship, everything you learn about business is parallel. You know, a lot of my formal training started out in network marketing. And what I did was I took that personal development, that business training, that business savviness, and just that mindset that I got. And I made zero money in network marketing. But I took that information, that training, and I parlayed it into my 9-to-5 when I became a salesman. And I worked that job for over 8+ years. And I was able to make a 6-figure income on that job. And I remember one of my last years there, I worked half the year and still not tripped over $100,000. But that's because everything that I had laid the foundation. And that's the beautiful thing about sales. You build up a book of business. And so once I left the sales world of corporate America, I started my next business venture, which I bought into a tax franchise. Of course, you know, for those who know my story, it failed, but I learned so much from it, which eventually helped me parlay to where I am today. And I'm operating off of the same principles that I learned back in 2003. A lot of the content that I share with you guys is information that I learned from my mentors in 2003 and 2004 and so forth and so on. So the thing I really want everyone to hone in on when it comes to business, when it comes to mentorship, when it comes to just learning this information, just lock in, you know, always be taking notes, always recording, and just always sharpening your axe. You know, I always say, you know, if you have 4 hours to chop down a tree, you want to spend 3 hours sharpening your axe, because the more you work on yourself, the money just becomes the byproduct of the process. And so one of the things I always share with people when I sit down with them on a one-on-one setting, when you figure out what your purpose is, the money will always come. When you figure out the purpose behind the process, the money will always come. Now you just have to create more value in the marketplace to make your processes and procedures that much more valuable, to where now people are paying you for you to come and speak. People are investing in you for you to invest in them, and so forth and so on. So, you know, I'm extremely excited. You know, I get extremely excited when I'm talking about business. You know, I always tell people I literally and physically have not slept in over 15 years, just because I get so excited to be able to go out here and share with the world the information that has changed my life. And we've been able to impact so many people's lives across this country and worldwide, across the pond. I have clients in the UK and different places like that. So yeah, King Antonio, if you are on, I need you to just request access.
Okay, that's him.
And while y'all waiting, make sure you are sharing this video. All right, share this. It will be in the IG stories for 24 hours. We will be up on YouTube as well. All right, King Antonio, what's going on, King? Hello? King, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. I know you got the iPhone 15. You get stuff that the average person can't get access to. I understand. And so,
Nah, it's just the iPhone X.
yo, that's a humble brag. People say, "Oh, it's just the iPhone X," knowing it's still the best thing out right now. So, King, so yeah, just let people know a little bit about who you are, you know, where you live and your background.
Okay, for sure. My name is Antonio Buchanan.
See if you can turn it up on the side.
I am originally from Mississippi. I currently live in Virginia. So I service the DMV area for my business. Any kind of investing needs that you have, anything dealing with credit repair, and anything just dealing with soaking up knowledge. As far as my background goes, I was prior military. As you can see, some of my stuff is back in my office. Went through the whole corporate ladder, working various jobs in the federal government. And right now, I'm a computer engineer working for Microsoft. Thank you for having me on, Will.
Oh, no, Kenya, the pleasure is definitely all mine. One of the things that, I respected about you, King, is that, when you became a coaching client, one of the things that you did was you invested your money to fly out here just to spend a day with me before we even started doing business. And not saying that that's what everybody has to do, but I respect things like that because that let me know that you were serious about what it was you were trying to accomplish. Can you explain why that was so important?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I always tell people, one of the things that people have to realize is that you have to invest in yourself first, right? Regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of what you're doing. Like Jay always preached, you have to be an expert at hiring experts. Things that you may know, things that you've read on the internet, it's always good to have somebody that has the blueprint. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I believe in if somebody has done it and it's been successful, then you can do the same thing as well, right? So, prior to meeting the whole JMA family, Will, I was on YouTube every day looking at videos with Will, videos of Jay, and just soaking up all the knowledge. So when I came and I flew out to Atlanta, nobody had to convince me that, hey, you need to spend this money, you need to do this. I already knew everything that I wanted to know, and all I had to do was follow their lead because they had the blueprint.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that I always tell people is that, and believe it or not, it's easier said than done, but when you are a mentee and you're investing into a coach, you still have to be coachable. And the thing that I appreciated about you is that you came over with no ego because you had a resume. I mean, you come from a corporate background. You were, previous military. I met you. You were already, had the rollie and had the fly suits. And so from the outside looking in, somebody will see you and they see the success you've already created, but you still saw the importance of investing in yourself and in real estate, and from more of a strategy standpoint. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But let's talk about easy funding. Why did you go through easy funding?
Well, so I am a risk taker. I take calculated risks on everything, right? I do my homework. I do my due diligence. I look up everything, and I said, okay, maybe this is something, right? Because the worst thing that you can do is not do anything, and then you're still stuck in the same place, in the same situation you were a year ago. So after me doing my research, I called over, talked to some of the JMA family, and I said, okay, this is something that I could definitely get into. Because, prior to that, every property that I acquired, I was using my own funds, right? So I'm like, okay, if I can leverage my credit, if I can leverage everything that I have to get extra funds and buy properties, then why not? So I decided to do it for that reason. And honestly, it's probably one of the biggest changes that I've had thus far is receiving and having access to lenders. Because a lot of people know, if you've ever been through the process, if you've ever tried to get any money from the banks, whether it's a small business loan, whether it's for commercial, you have a 2% chance of actually being successful. Because one, you are a small business, you're just starting up. Nobody's going to lend to a small business. Most people want to see at least 2 to 5 years of income at a particular level to even give you like 50,000, 100,000. So when I went through the Easy Funding program, it was very simple. The application was very easy, and I really didn't even have to use any of my income that I made from my primary job.
Now, I remember you shared a story with me when you came out, and this is the thing I tell people why the resources that we offer you, just from a banking standpoint, is so vitally important. And sometimes I get people and say, you know what, I could have did this on my own. And I'm like, yeah, you could have. But there's different strategies that we use and implement to ensure that we can help you position yourself to get in the best position possible from a funding and lendable standpoint. But the story you shared with me is that one of the banks that you got funding from that you had never even heard of, you actually ended up getting a relationship with them, went back and refinanced one of your vehicles. Is that true?
Yep, that's true. It was one of the banks, never heard of them, small bank. Once they saw like my resume, I got approved for funds, they hit me back up and was like, hey, we can offer you this type of rate on your vehicle, we can offer you this for insurance. If you get a checking account, we can do this. Like, I mean, it was just all perks. Like, there was nothing bad about anything that they offered me. And so I now have a relationship with another bank for whatever reason, whatever purpose I need them for, because all of their rates were very competitive. Navy Federal is my primary bank, and it's like their rates was beating Navy Federal's, USAA's, like all the big banks.
Wow. And that's important because now you saved money on your overall expenses just because you went through this process.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. That's really powerful. So now you go through easy funding, I'm not going to say the exact dollar amount because I don't want your friends and relatives hitting you up asking to borrow no money. But let's just say King Antonio was able to get right around about $200,000+ in capital, which is powerful because now it puts him in a whole different ball game to where he can go and buy just a $200,000 building and then fine. But he was able to leverage that to go and buy close to $1 million investment property that he hasn't used one dime out of his own pocket to go and invest in. And now talk about just from a real estate investing standpoint with the coaching you got with us, how it was able to help you with the strategies to build a successful 6-figure real estate portfolio in less than 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely strategy is like the number one thing in this game. A lot of people go into it and they be like, okay, so I get access to the funds. How do I do it? How can I purchase a property with credit cards, like things like that, right? So this is how it works, right? So you go through the easy funding program. They give you access to the cash, right? Most of my cash was on credit cards, maybe like 6 or 7 credit cards for the first round. A little bit over 100,000 for the first round. Then the second round, I probably got a little bit over 150,000, right? And it's all on credit cards. So we go through a process of liquidating the cards and making it to cash. Because as you know, when you have a credit card and you try to do a cash advance, if your APR is 8%, the cash advance is going to be like 20, 30%. And then you're only limited to get about $5,000 to $10,000 just depending on that card, right? So what I did with one of the first properties that I purchased when I received my funding is that you purchase the property in cash, right? So let's say it was a $40,000 property. So now I liquidate $40,000+ for the purchase of the property and a little bit extra just in case you need it, right? So now I have the credit cards, and on the credit cards I take out that money. So now you're asking me, okay, but you still owe on those credit cards. So now you go find a property that is $40,000, but the appraisal value is more than $40,000. So let's just hypothetically say the appraisal value was $50,000, $60,000. So now I purchase a property with the credit cards, with the cash, and then once I close on that property, I refinance with a bank for 30-year loan, and I take out excess money because banks are typically refinance you at least 80%.
Reconstruct that backwards so we can help you hit that end goal. And here's the proper strategies. And then you said something that's so important is that, because I know some people may say, well, there's not houses for that dollar amount in my local area, which for you there wasn't. I remember you said for your first property, I think it was 100-something thousand. But the benefit of why one-on-one coaching with us, we literally get deals sent to us from a ton of people from all over the country. So we found the deal that made sense for Antonio for his particular situation. I think within the first less than 60 days after we had got the capital, we put him in position to go and make that first play. And then based off of that, we were able to make the next play, which he's about to get ready to acquire. So it's really just all about strategy. That's why having access to the capital, because the thing I always share with people too, and I'm going to ask you this question. How important was it for you to have it and not need it than to find a deal and not have capital at all?
Oh, absolutely. It's really important. And that's one of the things that I would tell anybody that's looking to join or try to get access to capital. The deals are always there. There's a lot of properties. There's a lot of deals. But making sure your credit is straight, make sure you have the capital so when you need it, you can pull the trigger on it.
Absolutely. So we'll hop into some Q&A. Hopefully we got some questions. Can you stick around for a little bit, King?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So what we got here, Dylan?
Earlier, somebody asked, what bank was that?
Man, we can't give y'all all our secrets, man. You might mess up the plug. Come on, family.
And is one-on-one coaching through Easy Funding or through Jay Morrison Academy?
Good question. So we are actually going to be coming up with a new mentorship coaching program strictly just for the Easy Funding. Because right now, when you go through Easy Funding, you're pretty much just going through the process. But we are going to have more of a little bit hand-holding where we'll be able to guide you through step by step. And we have an option where you can go with one of our junior advisors, or if you want to deal with me directly, meaning you get to pick up the phone, call me directly, and we'll make sure to walk you through. Because one of the perks when Antonio paid for one-on-one real estate coaching, and he had the most senior real estate investment coaching package you could have, he had my direct phone number. So he was able to contact me, throughout any questions he had. He was able to pick up the phone and say, okay, King, how do I complete this? I mean, even from me giving him the information on how to use, on how to do the applications without him even having to provide proof of income. That's huge. King, talk about how powerful that could be for someone to be able to go after capital without even having to prove or provide proof of your income.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the traditional route first, and then you can kind of compare how it is with the Easy Funding program. So if you go in a traditional route, first of all, your business, you have to be in business a certain amount of time. You have to produce a certain amount of income yearly to even be qualified for anything. Not only that, you have to provide your pay stubs, your tax returns, like everything, and it has to be a substantial amount. Just because you provide it, you still got to make a lot of money, because to do these type of deals, there's like the low end and there's the high end. So if you want to get just like the Small Business Administration, good luck with trying to get any type of loan through them.
For real.
The Easy Funding program, it was very simple. Like my name, my social, where I lived at, my company name, my EIN number, things like that. That's all it was. And I was able to just leverage that to get whatever I wanted. And I do have to mention that everything started with my credit score. I was in the mid 700s when I got in contact with Will them, learned some game from them, had them take them through the process. And I think when I started applying for funding, I had like an 815 credit score. You know what I'm saying? So I pretty much could just write down what number I wanted with any lender, and they was going to give it to me because I met all the guidelines and my credit score was high enough, and they'll be like, okay, what do you need type of thing.
Absolutely.
And I always tell people this as well. You don't have a credit score to brag about it. You have a high credit score to leverage it to get you more money and more assets.
Say that again, Ken. Repeat that.
So if you have a high credit score, you don't need to have a high credit score to brag about it. You need to leverage that credit score to get you more money and more assets.
That's powerful, because when you have a strong credit profile, like, just recently, my sister, she went and bought a brand new 2008 vehicle recently, and she was shocked that she didn't even have, she filled out the application over the internet, and they said, what do you want on the lot? Like, she didn't have to provide anything, and she was like, oh my gosh, did something go wrong? Is this a legitimate car lot? BMW told her to come down and pick the vehicle you want. So that's one of the benefits of, when you have strong credit, it's cheap. Your lifestyle is cheaper when you have good credit. You pay less in interest. You generally don't have to put down as much in deposits and down payments, and they're flexible with their terms and rates and all that different stuff. So, I always tell people, you walk different when you have a 700 credit score. All right, what else we got, Dylan?
I've gotten my first complete, but I'm not having any luck with a realtor in my selected markets. Can I still join your deal group so I can make my purchase?
Yeah, definitely. Now, we don't have a necessarily deal group. I would say send us a message. One of the things I will tell you, don't just focus on dealing with realtors. You may want to deal with a wholesaler. See, the thing I love about working with wholesalers, especially when you're with a good one, they've already vetted the deal, and I tell, all the wholesalers that I work with, look, send me off-market deals, meaning I don't want anything that 1,000 people are going to bid on and drive the price up, because I'm not overspending for a property. Generally, a good wholesaler is going to bring you something that's off-market, below market value. Now you're going in to the table purchasing something possibly already with equity, and a lot of the deals that we get is already turnkey. Antonio's first deal he got from us was a turnkey situation. He didn't have to pick up a hammer. He didn't have to look for contractors. It was already cash flowing. So you may want to, reach out to us, family, and look into our one-on-one coaching.
Which one is the best for what is being spoken about right now? I think it was the easy funding or the...
If you can expunge on that question, but I'm going to say if you're looking for capital, you want to definitely get easy funding. And a lot of people get the easy funding to pay for coaching, and then get the coaching so they can help them recoup the investment for the coaching, and then help them grow their capital stack. Because one of the things when you go through one-on-one coaching, now you work with me and my team for us to help you get access to more coaching. But then we talk about, help you get access to more capital. But then within that construct, we talk about more of the higher end type of, capital that you can go after. And so again, that's the benefits when you deal with us on a one-on-one basis.
The obstacle I keep running into regarding unsecured business credit is lenders. Creditors religious tell me that I have to have 2 years of revolving credit, and I only have a year and a half.
Good question. So their question was, they're running into issues, the exact same thing that King Antonio was saying. Banks, they have these things in place because they do want to make it more difficult for small businesses to get access to capital. But again, that's why you want to deal with the professionals. We help you to put together your profile to deal with our bank, so we can help you go through that process without you having to give up your firstborn and provide DNA samples and all of that type of stuff. So I would say if you're not an easy funding, it may be something you want to look into, because again, you just have a lack of strategies for you to be able to get through and accomplish whatever that end goal is, which it sounds like trying to get some capital for whatever business you're trying to get into.
Does your credit repair include inquiry removal?
Good question. No. Credit repair and inquiry removal are two totally separate services. Matter of fact, King Antonio, you went through our credit inquiry process. Am I correct?
Yes.
How important was that for you to really maximize your funding potential? Because you came over, you had a strong 700 plus.
Absolutely. I think it's very important because, the way that the process is, you have to have a very low amount of increase on your credit profile in general. And, it sucks, but the way that it works, if one person runs your credit report, he's going to hit all three credit bureaus, right? So for me, it was really important major boost in your credit profile, your credit score, and lenders love to see that. You can have a 700 plus credit score with a lot of increase, and a lender is going to be like, well, you've been trying to get credit, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, and they can still deny you because they feel like you're searching for credit. You end up all these different companies for credit, even with a strong credit profile. That can still be an issue with the increase.
Absolutely. And the thing that, again, going back to Antonio being so coachable, he went through inquiry removal like 3 or 4 times with us because now he understands the power of he can go out and access and leverage his credit forever. He has an unlimited resource or access to unlimited resources per bank standards. All he got to do is keep his credit right. He learned the strategies, learn how to play the utilization game, get some capital, put up some carrying costs, all those things that we learn and that we share with our clients. But then more importantly, he's going to be able to get access to capital forever. Because now when he go and do that multifamily deal, he'll be able to refinance that and go out and acquire a 50-unit property. So, I mean, it's a code that you play the game differently when you learn the rules. And that's the thing that I love about, this industry. What's the next? Who we got next, Dylan?
After he got the 2,000K easy funding, when does the payback period start?
It starts right away. But the importance of it is that, so whenever we sit down with someone, I always like to ask them, what is their end goal? And so within that, we're going to structure a strategy around what it is they're trying to accomplish. So we may put up some reserves. If we go after all revolving credit, you don't pay anything back until you liquidate the card. So it's all about strategy. I mean, have I had people, just take myself, for example. When I first did and went through easy funding on my own about 4+ years ago, I sat on my capital for 6 months. But I understood the importance of I rather have it and not need it and need it and not have it.
Since I have gone through the first round and want to go through the second, should I even use my credit capital? Will the use of my capital hinder my chances for the next round?
Good question. It depends on what your strategy is and what your end goal is. I always tell people, don't be in a hurry to just jump in the deal just to jump in the deal. Make sure that, and this is, again, why I always recommend doing some level of coaching. And if you don't want to do one-on-one coaching, at least book a consultation with us, because then we can help to structure based around your end goal. Like even with King Antonio, when he got 100-something his first round, he still sat on that. Because based upon what me knowing and my team knowing what his end goal was, I said, King, let's go after some more bread. Once we get you some more capital, then we're going to make a play. But then we took steps to get to that large play. And so the thing that I appreciate about Antonio, amongst all of the many things that I mentioned about him, he was extremely patient. And again, this is somebody who has a corporate background, was making very good 6-figure income in that corporate setting. He was already well versed and knowledgeable about business, about entrepreneurship, had a successful company, but he still saw the importance to be coachable, invest in himself in the strategies, but more importantly, he was patient. King, talk to me, briefly in about 45 seconds, how important that level of patience was for you. And if you had just jumped right in and did something right away, do you think you could have built a successful portfolio in a short period of time that you have done so?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like anything that you do in real estate, patience is key. Like I previously said, the deals are out there, right? So I knew my strategy was buy and hold and eventually do multifamilies, right? If anybody ever played Monopoly, it's the same thing. In Monopoly, what you want to do? You want to buy the single-family homes, trade them in to get the apartment buildings, to get the hotels, to get things like that, right? So my strategy was exactly the same. And, by me being patient, there were deals that was coming through that I could have paid cash for, $30,000, $40,000. But I said, you know what? If I want to continue to get a large amount of cash flow every month, I have to go out to multifamily deals, right? So if I'm going to spend $30,000
gave y'all some game. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's definitely important having patience, because one deal doesn't make you rich in real estate. You may not even see any like true money from your real estate portfolio to about your fifth, sixth deal in. But as long as you purchase real estate the proper way, you'll always have access to capital, because guess what? Now you have the assets that you can always borrow against. So Antonio, God willing, could lose everything, but he's too smart of a king for that to even happen. He gonna always be up though, because he knows how to tap into something that he's built from the information he got through the coaching. So again, that's why information is so key. That's why applied knowledge is the power, not just the knowledge. Because I know a lot of people that know a lot of stuff and they still broke. But that's because they haven't applied the right principles and strategies behind the information that they learn. All right. So yeah. So definitely, you know, good questions, family. Let's definitely keep the questions rolling in.
What if you have good credit with student loans?
Good credit with student loans, your file can still be worked. It's just about making sure we look at, you know, the overall situation and scenario. Secondly, the component of being able to use stated income. So when we're able to, once we look at your credit report, we're going to factor in what your DTI is. We had a client come over, and when she put in her original income, she was getting denials. And so she eventually signed up for credit, for easy funding, and based upon after we factored in what her DTI was, we figured out, and I educated her on what stated income was. She was able to use household stated income and was able to go through the program successfully. So again, that's the importance of why you want to let an expert, you want to become an expert at hiring experts, because now she learned something new that she had never known, but she had been bumping her head for 2 years, couldn't borrow any money with her company. So that's why this information and these lives and different things are so important.
But don't you have to remove the inquiries before applying for a second and third rounds?
Absolutely. It benefits you and it helps you to maximize on your other rounds. And again, we offer inquiry removal. I just mentioned Antonio has went through inquiry removal 3 or 4 times. I think he's even gotten to the point he applied for things just for the fun of it and hit me up and say, King, can you remove this inquiry? I just got a $20,000 approval. I ain't even gonna use it. So, you know, and that's generally what happens when you get in this space, because you've learned so much. And again, to know you can go anywhere and apply for anything and get approved for whatever you want, but then more importantly, to be able to use your approvals as a means of generating income. That's the most powerful component of that whole strategy.
Should you get easy funding before coaching?
Very good question. I always say it depends on your situation. I would tell you that if you have it in your budget, getting the coaching with easy funding will be beneficial, because now we can have a much more structured strategy session within the discovery and fact finding of what it is your end goal is, because I put together different strategies based upon what you're trying to accomplish. You know, not everybody comes to easy funding for real estate. You know, I have clients who have hair salons, barber shops, restaurants. I have clients who are literally in the music industry. You know, one of my clients is a very well-known musician who was able to build a new studio using easy funding. So you literally could use it for whatever.
And should I use this property as leverage?
If you have a property with equity in there, absolutely. You definitely want to use it as leveraged income. Again, it's bank's money, so why not utilize that?
How do you transfer the funds from the credit card to your bank account?
That's why you got to sign up for easy funding, family.
How much does it cost to convert cards to cash?
So we generally charge around 10%, which I tell people is extremely generous, because first of all, it's such a niche service that's offered. I know people that has paid 35% to get their cash off their cards. And because most seasoned real estate investors know this is the easiest way for them to get access to capital, they were willing to do it. And so I get a lot of people, sometimes they complain about the 10%, and I say, show me where you can get it for less. You know, and usually they can't. So 10% is very generous.
Do most of the business lenders report to any credit bureaus?
Yes. All banks have different reporting algorithms and where they report to. And so each bank has it's that bank's right to report however they want to report. Some of the business lines don't report anywhere. Now, some of the credit are personal credit lines. And like I tell people, I don't care if it's personal or business credit. I'm using the bank's money. And because I have an end goal and already know how I'm going to flip it and recoup and go after and get some more capital, it's just the credit and the capital on the cards are really just a tool for me to accomplish what my end goal is. And that's to build a massive portfolio in and outside of real estate.
How much was his payments a month for the 2000K?
I don't know what his payment was, but one of the things he told me is he said, well, I don't care what the payment is because what I'm making is covering 3 to 5 times that payment. So again, we can't get, that's why, again, it's important to know the strategies. And so, we had a strategy session where we put up and factored in our carrying costs. Ken, you want to talk about how important knowing that piece of strategy of factoring in your carrying costs? Because I talk to a lot of novice investors that when they bring me their deal breakdown, I don't see anything in there about carrying costs. And next thing that they're in the hole. How important was that strategy for you?
Yes, it was actually really important. So whenever I went through funding, I kind of already knew my game plan. I had already had the strategy down packed, right? So yes, I got over 250K in funding, but I didn't use the entire, I didn't max out the entire 250K with one deal, right? Like, it's really easy for me to go and say, hey, I'm going to get $1 million property. I'm going to use all this 250K as a down payment and blah, 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 right? So what I did is that I used about 50% of that. And then I still have the cash in my account. So whenever I'm going through deals and they see proof of funds and all the things like that, when I finance something, I have extra money. And it's still not my money. It's still the money that that I got from the bank. And so I use those funds to offset and pay for whatever I needed to once I close on the deal. Then once I close the deal, I refinance and I pay back all the money that was on the cards or whatever loans or whatever it was, right? So you don't I would suggest that you max out the entire amount that you get unless you have a strategy. And let's just hypothetically say that I did max out everything that I had. I have a full-time job, so I still have money. I still have reserves if I need it. But why would I use my own money when I can use the bank money to acquire every property that I need?
Absolutely. And I always say I'll follow that plan all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. But more importantly, the other thing and other component was we were able to put up some money. So he let the debt service the debt itself. Again, some of the other things that you do learn and when you go through the coaching. So we got about 5 minutes left, King. I definitely want to appreciate, I want to thank you, and I appreciate you hopping on this live. I know, you're also crisscrossing the country, going to check on your properties all across the United States and doing some of the other, philanthropic things that you do in your local community. So, take about 30 seconds, just let people know how they can follow you. And also, any last words that you want to share.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram, Antonio Buchanan _ Facebook, Antonio Buchanan Capstone Investment Group. You can follow me. I also have an InvestU community that I cater to as well. I have over 400 people that have subscribed to my community, where I send out weekly emails every Monday about finances, about credit, and also about just real estate in general. You can hit me up. You have access to my phone number. You can call me with any questions. I learned the game from the best, and now I'm doing my job and I'm paying it forward, right? So I learned from the JMA family and give it back. One thing that I'm gonna leave you with, and one thing that I would say is that if money is an issue, whatever money you do have, I would highly suggest that you invest not only the easy funding program, but also the coaching. Because this is one thing that people don't realize. They don't see the long to me, what's more important are the relationships that you build. So now I had direct access to Jay Morris. I had direct access to Will. So now when I'm doing deals, I know the people that have been working in other states. Now they know me. The lenders, from the closers to contractors to everybody. One of the things that they preach in the JMA Academy is building your team. How I started building my team was from the coaching, and then from the coaching, it just progressed after that.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely well put, well said, King. I definitely appreciate you. Y'all make sure to go follow him, and just to leave everybody. The reason I'm so passionate is hearing success stories like, King Antonio, who already was successful in every right as an entrepreneur. Some may consider it being self-made, but he still saw the importance to invest in himself on an extremely high level. He understood the importance of, having access to the relationships. Business is 60 to 70% relationships. For him to be able to pick up the phone and be able to say, hey, King, I need a title company, and he didn't even mention this part, but he was able to acquire, based off of the relationships we helped him put in place, a $1.2 million line of credit to be able to purchase real estate anywhere in the United States. So again, the relationship component alone, I always share my story. I paid $1,500 just to have a 10-minute phone call with King J. And I didn't even care. He could have charged me $15,000. I was looking to build that relationship with him. And from that point, it has springboarded me to be able to go out here and do what it is that I've been passionate about. And that's to go out here and serve the people, to serve my community, to be, proud to go out here and just give us this information for us to be in position to be able to serve and leave an inheritance for our children. So I get extremely excited about that. So I'll take one last question. I think I got maybe 2 minutes left. I want to try to get 1 minute left. What we got? We'll answer it quick.
Does Easy Funding report to Dun and Bradstreet?
Depends on the bank, and Dun & Bradstreet does not determine whether you get approvals. Most banks only use Dun & Bradstreet just to verify that you're a business. So again, family, make sure if you want some one-on-one coaching, send me a message in my direct message. My wife probably is somewhere out there. She could send you the link. One of my young proteges, King Jacory, is probably out there. He can reach out to you. The coaching, make sure you go pick up the book, Great Stocking Stuffer. Make sure you follow me across the board at Mr. Will Roundtree. And make sure to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Mr. Will Roundtree. So family, I will see you guys next week. This will be up on YouTube within the next 24 to 48 hours. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, family. Peace.